Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, August 15th reveal Dr. Madison Montgomery will have a medical crisis to deal with, and Andre Richardson will vent about his romance woes. Andre recently dumped Danny Dupree to pursue something more with Ashley Morgan. However, the good nurse refused to explore anything further with Fairmont Crest's resident playboy. This is because she caught him kissing Danny. Plus, her mom, Jan Morgan, has been relentless about how Andre will never settle down and change for her. During the BTG August 15th episode, Andre will cry about the predicament he's in, while Ted Richardson will also lament about his situation with Nicole Richardson. As fans know, Nicole finally served him divorce papers during the August 14th episode, so Ted will have relationship issues of his own to talk about. Speaking of the Dupree gals, they'll also be in a depressed mood, thanks to the respective Richardson men above, and Vanessa McBride will do all she can to lighten their spirits. Across town, the Articulates will talk about the future. Beyond the Gates spoilers for August 11th remind fans that the Young and the Restless's Devon Hamilton Winters visited Anita Dupree at the country club and presented the idea of a record deal. Anita felt as if she didn't have the bandwidth for something like this, but suggested fellow Articulates, Sharon Winger and Tracy Tyler, would be interested. She also promised she'd do a collaboration single with the ladies and suggested re-releasing a classic song from the group that could include Barbara's vocals from an old demo. Devon agreed to that, so Anita, Tracy, and Sharon will probably chat about the contract. BTG fans should gear up for some feel-good scenes between these ladies who have finally healed from the past. Lastly, Madison will have the help of Nurse Ashley as the two medical professionals deal with a massive crisis at the hospital. It's hard not to think that Allison may be the one they are saving, as she warned Chelsea Hamilton during the August 13th episode that she's missing her. Could Allison attempt to unalive herself? Maybe she fakes a near-demise accident and blames her husband. Beyond the Gates spoilers hint that Allison is a tad cray-cray, with some unhinged qualities about her, so doing something drastic to get Chelsea's attention seems right up her alley. Eva's surprised to learn her mom owes over $10,000, but less so that Leslie wants her to get the money from Ted. When a frustrated Eva leaves, Leslie gets the shock of her life when she opens the door to find Peaches, who calls herself the only mother Leslie ever knew, standing there. The women exchange what passes for pleasantries between them. We get a bit of their history when it's revealed that Leslie once stole a man from Peaches. But the real reason for the woman's visit? Turns out she's the one who's been trying to get in touch with Leslie. Why? She's dying, and thinks it's time Leslie knows who your mother is. Sensing that something isn't quite right with Kat, Tomas decides he should leave. He makes it clear he's not mad at her. In fact, he intends to sweep the beauty off her feet. But she later tells Chelsea that this time around, the sex with Tomas was even worse than their first go-round. Catching up with Chelsea later, Kat assures her cousin she's not gay and doesn't think she's asexual, but wonders if waiting too long to jump into the world of sex has somehow messed her up. At Uptown, Tom runs into Eva, who yet again seems to get him better than anyone else, including his girlfriend. As if being served with divorce papers isn't bad enough, Ted sees her having dinner with his pal Carlton. He's about to interrupt when Anita, speaking to him like a dog needing punished, barks, "Sit!" She and Vernon point out that Ted has invested less time into saving your marriage than you did into building a relationship with the child who tried to destroy it. Ted then asks for a moment with Nicole, and, once Carlton steps away, expresses shock that she's moving on, let alone with his co-worker. Sensing that their daughter needs rescuing, Anita and Vernon go over to the table and interrupt to send Ted packing. As Anita hugs Nicole and says the instinct to protect your children never goes away, we see the various families of Fairmont Crest dealing with their assorted issues. As Naomi preps June to meet the kids she abandoned, the unhoused woman can't help but worry it'll be a disaster. "My dreams don't come true," she frets, adding that she'd rather disappoint Samantha and Tyrell by not meeting with them than see how they react to her. June remembers the good times as well as the night it all went south, and she decided they'd be better off without her in their lives. But seeing herself all glowed up in a mirror, June is surprised. Now that's somebody's mother! Across town, an equally nervous Smitty and Martin fear they might lose the children. Smitty's surprised to hear Martin's in therapy. "I want to be a better man than the one you married," Martin says, and they agree to a temporary truce. Soon after, June arrives with Naomi. The meeting goes from awkward to tense as the teens express their anger, and June attempts explaining that she gave them up so they could have exactly the life they do now. Acknowledging that Martin, Smitty, and the kids look like a beautiful family portrait, June's voice quakes as she asks if there might be room in that photo for her. That, the men say, is going to be a conversation the family needs to have in private. And while Tyrell seems ready to let June vanish from their lives again, Samantha believes their mom needs to be part of their lives. By episode's end, Martin has suggested to Smitty that he move back in for the sake of the kids. Before Smitty can respond, Samantha and Tyrell enter to say they've made a decision as to whether they want to see June again. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, August 14th suggest some bombshells on the horizon. Ted Richardson will be blindsided, while Leslie Thomas gets a shocking visitor. Plus, June prepares for a major meeting. Read on to learn more about what's coming up on the CBS soap. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, August 14th. Hint that June will have a big meeting to prepare for, and Naomi Hawthorne will help her. Added teasers imply that June will be super nervous, so it sounds like she's about to meet her biological children, Tyrell Richardson and Samantha Richardson. Will everything go smoothly, or will drama erupt? Across town, Leslie will get an unexpected visitor who is a blast from her past. As reported earlier this week, Arlie Michelle is slated to debut on BTG, playing the role of Peaches, a woman somehow connected to Leslie. In addition, Peaches will have scenes at some point with Ted. Speaking of Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, reveal that Ted will be completely caught off guard with a move Nicole Richardson makes. From the sounds of it, Nicole will serve Ted with divorce papers. While it's understandable that he'll be a little surprised, how can he be that shocked? Nicole discovered two major secrets that he kept from her recently. His affair with Leslie, and not telling her about their son, Martin Richardson's traumatic night 2 years ago. She warned him this was coming during their last confrontation. Interestingly enough, Vernon Dupree and Anita Dupree will comfort one of their daughters during Thursday's show. Will this be Nicole, off the cusp of serving Ted divorce papers, or will it be Danny Dupree? After all, Danny may still be reeling over Bill Hamilton's and Haley Hamilton's miscarriage, and their heartbreak over it. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, August 15th, 2025, reveal the drama never ends. Andre talks to his uncle about his love life, while Vanessa helps Danny and Nicole with theirs. Andre has found himself in the middle of two smart and attractive women. He's a little mixed up about his love life. So, who better to share your relationship woes with than your uncle, Ted? The two will compare notes, especially since Ted's about to be served divorce papers. Ever the good friend, Vanessa will help Nicole and Danny. Both of them are dealing with their share of relationship problems. They should be bonding over their crumbling marriages, but that's not happening. Vanessa will encourage the sisters to prop each other up, but will it work? Ashley and Madison will have to deal with a major medical crisis. This moment could change everything for them. What's going on now? Both of them already work too hard at the hospital. What could happen that could change their lives? We're interested in seeing how they will handle this emergency. The Articulates will be asked to plan for the future. The trio just reconciled with their past. But are they able to move on? And what are they planning now? We already know that Anita already received an intriguing offer from Devon. How will her fellow bandmates feel about this? Beyond the Gates fans have been buzzing about Dana Leslie Thomas's mother on social media for a while. Are we about to find out her identity? Because Peaches, Leslie's mother figure, auntie/family friend/whoever she is, has finally caught up to Dana, and she's about to spill in the Thursday, August 14th episode. One of the main fan theories going around is that Leslie's mother's, Barbara, the original Articulate, never got to achieve success with the group she founded. She was pushed out and eventually took her own life. Anita Williams Dupree recently paid homage to her during the Articulettes' comeback concert. It was a touching tribute that was emotional and cathartic, and provided some closure for Anita since she had been feeling guilty over her friend's tragic death. Lately, Leslie hasn't just been dodging debt collectors and extorting money from Ted. She has also been ignoring letters regarding an important legal matter concerning an inheritance. Now, everybody knows that Anita has poured money into a trust for Barbara's family, and if her deal with Devon goes through, then that may mean even more money funneling to Barbara's family. Anita wants to include a song on a potential Tracy and Sharon album that would, in essence, reunite all four Articulettes. Using old demos, they would re-release one of their tracks, but include Barbara's vocals on it. That's why fans have been guessing that Leslie is Barbara's daughter, which would enable her to suddenly be flush with cash. And she would no longer have to use blackmail and payback as a main source of income. Those could just be side hustles. Leslie would be rich in her own right. We don't know much about Leslie's past, but it feels like we're about to find out more. On X, formerly known as Twitter, Barbara, being Leslie's mother, is a popular guess after tuning into today's episode. Monique says, "Leslie mother is Barbara. I wouldn't be surprised." And according to @AstoldBemisha, Leslie is definitely Barbara's daughter. Her being at the reunion concert and knowing every lyric makes perfect sense now. She's going to be even more of a problem when she receives her inheritance. But fans were theorizing about Barbara and Leslie even before today. On August 5th, @Pi17656 Deirdre wrote, "Now I really wish that Leslie to be Barbara's daughter. It would be so soapy and make Leslie more than just the woman Ted cheated with." BTG, Beyond the Gates. Beyond the Gates premiered on CBS on February 2025. New episodes of the soap are currently available to watch on CBS and Paramount+. Now, there's another way for fans to watch. The show is getting its own dedicated channel on Pluto TV. On Thursday, August 14th, Pluto TV announced a dedicated channel for BTG. This will allow current fans of the soap and newcomers to get their fix. The live channel already has over 90 episodes available, which you can check out here. Also, the 4 recent episodes are available to stream anytime on Pluto TV Video on Demand here. This news doesn't mean that BTG is moving away from CBS. The soap struck up a contract with Pluto TV, which also has rights to other soaps, such as The Bold and the Beautiful and the Young and the Restless. However, this move is a big deal since BTG fans don't have to wait weeks for the latest episodes. They can catch up with all the drama that's going down in Fairmont Crest now. BTG has already been making moves since its premiere. It had a crossover event with its sister soap, Y&R. Bryton James guest starred as Devon Hamilton, and fans can't get enough. They're hoping that he will make another return. James recently shared that he's already on board for another BTG and Y&R crossover event, and encouraged fans to share their ideas for a potential storyline. As always, you can watch the latest episodes of BTG on CBS weekdays. Check your local listings for details. You can also watch new episodes on demand, depending on your cable provider. As we all know, streaming is the future. You can stream new episodes the following day on Paramount+, but now the Fairmont Crest empire is expanding into Pluto TV territory. This is exciting news for the soap, which has broken ground. The crossover was a hit. Fans of The Young and the Restless and Beyond the Gates loved watching Devon Hamilton in Fairmont Crest. Bryton James had fun as well, even though he got first-day nerves, but he's ready for another return. James brought Devon Hamilton to Fairmont Crest for a special episode. He gave Anita an intriguing offer, the opportunity to record her own jazz album, which she would also produce. Devon exuded cool and calm confidence, but on the inside, James had butterflies, reports Soap Opera Digest. "I was really nervous about not messing up," James told EW. "It's kind of about representing Y&R in the best way, and being my best for Toonie and Davis. You know, being the focal points of the show. But they made me feel good." James also shared another scene with Danny. Sparks flew between them, and BTG and Y&R fans could tell that they had sizzling chemistry. Is it possible that James will return to Fairmont Crest? Absolutely, James explained. From how well the crossover went behind the scenes to the ideas that they've had for the future, I think they want to keep stuff open for there to be any potential interactions with our show and theirs. The soap actor is encouraging fans to use their voices on social media. This can help the writers develop storylines that incorporate Devon's role. If the fans enjoy the crossover and want to see more of the storyline and the little things that we dropped for the previous future interaction, let the writers know and let the network know, because they surely listen, James added. What did you think of Devon on BTG? Do you want more of him on the soap? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. On Beyond the Gates, Leslie had a surprise visitor at the front door, but not only did she get one bombshell, but the promise of a second immediately after. Just who is Peaches, really? There's no force quite like that of a mother. The Duprees have Anita. And now, Leslie has Peaches. Peaches arrived in Fairmont Crest today and caused a stir immediately. It turned out that many of the calls trying to get a hold of Leslie lately were made at Peaches' bidding. She had hired a private investigator to track down her daughter. That's right, I said daughter. We guessed, and the spoilers had us awaiting today's episode with bated breath. And it didn't disappoint. Peaches didn't get much of a greeting. Oh, my sweet baby Jesus, no, said Leslie. And after some banter that established that Leslie's mom knew her daughter all too well, she called her Dana, trouble, which kind of nailed it. It didn't take long for the banter and shock of seeing each other again after so long to subside. And the conversation turned from greeting to shock. Peaches is dying. Peaches told Leslie that she had come to say it was a blessing that Leslie hadn't taken all those calls, as she needed her to see her face one last time. Leslie was jaw-dropped. One last time? Peaches told her daughter that she was indeed dying, and that she wished she knew that was what it took to shut Leslie's mouth all those years ago. The humor was much needed. Leslie told her mom that she couldn't go, as she needed her. Peaches replied that she didn't want to leave her alone in this world, and she needed to tell Leslie who her mother was. Enter bombshell number 2. So who is Peaches? It's speculation time. What if Anita hadn't only taken Barbara's dreams, but had taken everything from her, including Vernon? Leslie is about to get a shock when Peaches divulges who she really is. Barbara Mitchell. If Peaches is Barbara, the hits will come rolling in for Anita. And we don't mean those dropped by the articulettes. Picture this. Vernon and Barbara were together, and she became pregnant. But Anita had Vernon's attention, and he left her with a child. The real reason why Barbara was cut from the articulettes, by Dante Green, was because she was pregnant. But this would make Leslie Vernon's daughter, in the same way that Eva is Ted's, and a Dupree. If this plays out, imagine the hypocrisy of the way Ted is being treated when Vernon did no different. But the best part will be when Nicole discovers that Leslie is her half-sister, like Eva is to Kat. And all of this is just soapy enough to make sense and play out just the way you read. And if so, you heard it here first. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Friday, August 15th, 2025. So many people's relationships are in tatters right now. Ted has received divorce papers from Nicole. The end of an era? Ted and Nicole were the shining example of a marriage until they weren't. Ted is now looking down the barrel of a very different life, while his partner and friend Carlton is pursuing Nicole. Andre and Danny had a heart-to-heart, and the two realized together they would be no more than friends going forward. Andre had chosen Ashley, but alas, Ashley saw Andre and Danny kissing and decided to be single, breaking Andre's heart and leaving Derek out in the cold too. In Friday's episode, Andre and his uncle discuss their relationship woes while Vanessa helps Nicole and Danny prop each other up. Derek, in an effort to forget about Ashley, has embarked on a tall order of a task, preparing for a triathlon in just a day or two. Hitting the gym harder than ever, it's worried Jacob, his training partner and friend. But Derek knows best. This cannot end well at all. In Friday's episode, Ashley and Madison deal with a major medical crisis. The two things cannot be related, or can they? Nurse Ashley will be working closely again with Dr. Madison Montgomery, who is a neurologist. Hopefully, it's nothing too critical relating to one of our favorite Fairmont Crest residents. In the first crossover event on Beyond the Gates, Devon Winters of The Young and the Restless's Genoa City visits with Anita and Vernon Dupree to discuss music, deals, and an album. Anita turned down a recording deal for herself, but suggested that Devon work with Sharon and Tracy and re-release a song and add Barbara's vocals in from digitized demo tapes. Devon loved the sound of, and in Friday's episode, the Articulates are asked to plan for their future now that they've reconciled with their past. Watch full episodes of Beyond the Gates weekdays on CBS or stream on Paramount+. On Beyond the Gates, since the big reveal of Martin's secret, to say things have been strained at home is an understatement. But hopefully, this latest development will bring the couple together. Bombshell news was delivered to Martin and Smitty. Naomi and Jacob turned up at the house, turning everyone's worlds upside down. Through their work helping June, who had been living in a temporary shelter, Naomi and Jacob have helped her find a treasured photo and reconnect with her sister Regina. What's more, through some clever digging and some smooth cop moves from Jacob, it turns out that June had given up 2 children, Ron and Cecile, to a foster home, and then they were processed in a closed adoption. The bombshell came when Jacob learned that during the closed adoption, the 2 children were given new names, and they were adopted by none other than Martin and Smitty. Ron and Cecile are better known to Fairmont Crest as Tyrell and Samantha. Martin and Smitty chose to let their 2 children decide whether they wanted to meet their biological mom or not. The 2 went outside to make this heavy choice. Tyrell strongly opposed it, believing that if his mom didn't care, then why should he care now? Samantha was very curious about who she is and what she's like. Martin, upset, had concerns that they might want to be with their birth mother, and what if they forgot all about him? Martin can't help but feel a bit insecure right now. He's been asked to leave the family home by Smitty and hasn't had much contact with the kids. Every time he's around Smitty, it's always very tense, and there is not an ounce of forgiveness or even a hint of the love that was once felt. Tyrell and his sister returned inside, and together they said that they had chosen to want to meet their birth mom. Hopefully, this will pull the family together and make Martin and Smitty's put all of the tension behind them as they stand united with Tyrell and Samantha and help guide them through this heavy situation. It's rough seeing how hurt Martin is, especially when worse has been forgiven on this show. Do you want to see Martin and Smitty reconnect here? Leave a thought or comment below. Here's what went down Wednesday, August 13th, 2025, on Beyond the Gates when Leslie bit the hand that might want to feed her. Kat didn't desire seconds of salsa, and Allison fed off of Chelsea's rejection. On Beyond the Gates, Tomas waited anxiously at Uptown for Kat in anticipation of a salsa dancing lesson they were to take there. Kat arrived late because she'd had trouble picking out a wardrobe for the occasion, yet she was looking forward to learning the style. They seemed to be the only students at the otherwise closed hotspot and were surprised to discover that their instructor was male, not female as they'd expected. The braggadocious Santi claimed to have the best hips in DC and got to work teaching Kat and Tomas some moves, but the couple struggled when Tomas seemed to have 2 left feet. Santi stopped the lesson, asking the pair where the passion was. "You're dancing salsa, not filing your taxes," the teacher exclaimed. Kat and Tomas tried again, but got into a disagreement. Santi stepped in with Kat to show Tomas how it was done. When Kat immediately caught on under Santi's tutelage, Santi repeatedly put Tomas down for his lack of ability. Tomas became increasingly annoyed until he cut in to take Santi's place and wowed Kat with his skills, attributing the improvement to having warmed up. Afterward, alone in the establishment, Tomas told Kat about the big gatherings his family had back in Puerto Rico, which were rich in food and music. Kat loved hearing about Tomas's life in the U.S. territory. Tomas guided Kat into silent dancing, emphasizing that when one had the right partner, one didn't need music. The 2 kissed passionately, and Kat put in a quick call to Chelsea, telling her that she may well need privacy at their place that evening. Chelsea was thrilled to hear that Kat, who had been underwhelmed by making love with Tomas before, was ready to instigate a second go-round after being swept away by Tomas's confidence. She told her cousin to text her later with the details. Tomas said he needed a shower after all their dancing, so Kat invited him to come home and bathe with her. Once Kat and Tomas emerged from the shower, clad in towels, Tomas gently massaged Kat's shoulders, and after they resumed kissing, their towels fell to the floor. Following lovemaking, Tomas raved that it had been something else, confessing that Kat drove him crazy. All he could think about was kissing her and touching her. He did notice that Kat seemed quiet, but she smiled that their encounter had been great. Tomas felt they were on the same page and wanted to go for round 2. However, Kat responded with an alarmed, "Already?" Madison met Chelsea at the country club, where the couple discussed the unfortunate distance that had been developing between them because of their schedules. They promised each other they'd rectify the situation, and Chelsea showed Madison a special doctor tote she had designed for her. Just as Chelsea expressed glee over Madison being willing to tell her coworkers that her girlfriend had made the tote for her, a glamorous Allison interrupted. Chelsea was stunned to see her ex at the members-only clubhouse. Allison reported that she had gotten a guest pass from her personal trainer, Diego. Unhappy to hear Allison bragging that she'd be around Fairmont Crest a lot more, Chelsea was ready to text the management when Allison presented Chelsea with a business offer. She knew someone with a startup social media platform who could help Chelsea Cat publicize their launch. Irritated, Chelsea declared Allison the last person she wanted assistance from, and accused Allison of plotting to come between her and Madison. Allison called it cruel when Chelsea threatened to have Allison escorted out. Chelsea assured Allison that her machinations weren't going to work because she and Madison were solid. When Madison needed to take a call, Allison fretted that Chelsea didn't care about her or about how Craig was treating her. Chelsea reminded Allison that she had advised her to leave Craig and charged that Allison was only playing up the situation with Craig as a way to get Chelsea's attention. After Allison left, Madison praised Chelsea for how she had handled her persistent former lover. But then Allison returned, insistent upon speaking to Madison. Allison announced that Chelsea was a selfish, two-faced bitch, and that Madison needed to get out while she could. Chelsea was furious, but decided that she wasn't going to let some psycho drama queen make her lose her cool. When Chelsea vowed to file a restraining order against Allison, the offended woman vacillated between telling Madison that being involved with Chelsea was a big mistake and telling Chelsea that they were meant to be together. Allison crowed that Chelsea didn't know what she was missing, but that she would soon find out. She then stormed off. Madison labeled Allison unhinged, while Chelsea became determined not to let Allison separate them. The couple kissed after Chelsea marveled over having found something real. Allison watched from afar. Leslie continued her call with the law firm, which had sent her a letter claiming she was due an inheritance. Ms. Thomas became enraged when she was asked for her social security number, date of birth, and maiden name. Leslie went off on the representative and hung up, throwing her phone in disgust. An exasperated Eva huffed that she had been trying to help Leslie help herself, but Leslie had no faith in anything that was supposedly waiting for her at the end of a fake-ass rainbow. Leslie yelled that no matter what she did, Eva always found fault with it. Eva wouldn't let Leslie shut her down. She told her mother she was fine with lending her money, but that she had a problem going to Ted for it on her behalf. Leslie scoffed that the doctor probably spent more on lunch than he had given to her. Eva didn't want to have that kind of relationship with the father she had lain awake nights as a girl dreaming about. She finally had what her younger self had wanted, and Ted was treating her like a daughter, not like a mistake. Leslie pointed out that she had made that happen, but Eva didn't want her mom ruining it with her Leslie drama. While Leslie fumed that Eva kept choosing those bougie-ass people over her, and Eva countered with always being forced by Leslie to choose sides, Leslie's phone rang more than once. Leslie wasn't going to pick up any scam calls, and became livid when Eva admitted that she loved Nicole. "It had always been Leslie and Eva against the world," Leslie scolded, "and it still should be." As her phone kept buzzing, Leslie angrily suggested that Eva handle it the way she tried to handle everything else in her life, then walked off. At Orphe Jeans, it had barely sunk in for Naomi that her second cousins, Tyrell and Samantha, were really June's children, Ron and Cecile, before Naomi realized that Martin and Smitty needed to be told. The parents were entitled to learn of their children's true identity before June could know where they were, given the closed adoption. Jacob worried that the estranged Smitty and Martin already had enough to contend with. Naomi sadly agreed that the news they had for them could destroy that family. Martin and Samantha won a round of spades against Smitty and Tyrell at the condo. Samantha wanted game time to continue, only with charades, but Smitty felt that dishes needed to be taken care of first. As the teens left to tackle the chore, Martin admitted that he missed spending time with his family and that he felt like he'd been relegated to visiting hours. Smitty was concerned about giving the kids false hope and wanted Martin to respect his boundaries. The face-off was interrupted by Martin's phone. Smitty advised Martin to say his goodbyes after taking the call. Naomi soberly told Martin that she needed to speak to him and Smitty right away. As the Richardson Smiths waited for the Hawthorns, Martin noticed that Smitty seemed eager for him to leave. Smitty didn't want the kids thinking things were just going to go back to the way they were. Martin scoffed that he wasn't expecting forgiveness anymore and appealed to his stoic husband that he wanted more time with Samantha and Tyrell. When Smitty went to answer the door, Martin grumbled that it was because the place wasn't his home anymore. Smitty told Martin to stop laying guilt trips on him. The entering Jacob was glad to see the separated marrieds spending time together, causing them to grimace. Naomi was delighted the teens were out of the room because there was no way to sugarcoat what she had to say. She and Jacob had found their birth mother. Martin wondered why the lawyer-detective couple had even been looking for the woman. Naomi explained that June had actually found her long before she'd learned of the connection. When Smitty heard that June was homeless, he wasn't surprised. He had been doing a story on foster care in general when he had met Tyrell and Samantha as youngsters. Their mother's addiction had robbed them of everything except their bond with each other. Smitty recalled how protective the younger Samantha had been of the older Tyrell, and he rested his hand on Martin's knee as he shared his amazement over one assignment filling such a void in his life. Martin concurred that the kids had needed them, and that they still did. Naomi and Jacob regretted bringing Martin and Smitty such unexpected news at a time when they were already dealing with enough. But now that June had been identified as their children's biomom, it was up to the dads to decide whether or not June should be informed of their whereabouts and whether or not Samantha and Tyrell should meet June. Smitty was adamantly opposed, given how little they knew about June, while Martin was more open to the idea, as long as they had a discussion with the teens first, because the family was fragile enough as it was. The Hawthorns said there was no rush to make any decision and left the Richardson Smiths to ponder. Samantha and Tyrell emerged, having heard everything. The sarcastic Tyrell seethed that their mother had finally decided they were worth knowing, and asserted how he had had to take care of Samantha after they'd been abandoned. Smitty and Martin told the kids they were old enough to reason for themselves whether they wanted to meet with the woman, and promised that, no matter what happened, they were still a family.